Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and first of all, I just want to say thank you to one of our admins who came to our inbox and told us that there was another channel. This channel, it has been simply taking the confessions and reposting them here on YouTube. So we had earlier on received a notification as well about that issue. We then followed the steps. Indeed, strange things do happen in this world. So the message that I want to share with you guys, it comes from an email that we received, and it was shared to me by one of our admins. The message that I want to share with you reads like this. Hello my brother, how are you? Can you please post my story as hidden identity? I am a man who is aged 37. Currently, I am here in France, and I came here as an asylum seeker, but things have not worked out for me. Things has been very terrible for me. I used to work a lot in Italy, but after facing a lot of challenges in Italy at this other farm where I was working, I then thought that it was a wiser idea for me to come to Germany, but along the way I could not manage to come to Germany, so I ended up being in France. And being in France, it has given me a lot of challenges, but by the grace of God, I think that at the end of the day, I should be thankful, because some of the guys that I used to work with back in our country, name hidden, they have since passed away. It was only I who escaped, but at the start of the journey, after we had planned our great escape, it was me and the other remaining guy, the one that I used to work with. We then came here. We wanted to be smuggled into Europe, but unfortunately along the way we were separated, and the next thing that I heard was that on the boat that they were traveling on, the boat then capsized and he then perished in the ocean. No one is ever going to find his body. Even up until today, I have never gathered the strength so as to inform their parents back in the village, even though I have managed to speak with them, because regularly I do communicate with my sister who is still there in the village. But whenever my sister tells me that my friend's mother, the one that perished in the sea, has come so that she can speak with me, and whenever I say hello, the first thing that she asks me, it is all about her son. If her son is there in Europe, she says that she does not mind even if her son does not send her any money. All that she wants to know if her son is still alive. That is all what matters to her. But I am so scared to break it down to her that her son perished in the sea. So when I was still in the village, one of my friends, he then said that he had gotten this other business partner. How they had managed to meet up with each other, I do not even know. What happened is that he had visited his other uncle in the city, and when he came back, he had great news for me. He said that he had met this other man who had made him to join to become part of his own business. And this was sort of like an exciting business. And since me and him, we were like heavily involved in this thing of lifting weights, he said that he wanted me to become the third partner in that business. So after that man had sent us the money, we then got back to the city. It was me and him. When we arrived at that man's house, I then started to suspect that everything was not 100%, because the house, you could see that this house, it is not well taken care of. This man was saying that the house in which he was living, it was left for him by his parents. The parents had died a very long time ago, and he was their only child. And one could see that even when the parents were still alive, it seemed as if he was a spoiled kid, because he was not taking care of the house. Everything was not going right at that house where he was staying. So we started staying there regularly. He would bring in a lot of girls, and I started to enjoy that lifestyle. But where he was getting the money from, I could not even understand, because even from day one, he told me the money that I was going to be earning at the end of the month. And my friend, since he was like the second business partner, he was also earning more than I was. Then one day, it was around 4 a.m. That was when he came into my room and he woke me up. And when he woke me up, he then gave me something to smoke. And he said that the things that you are about to see, they can scare you. So I thought that maybe he wanted to show me someone who had died. He then said that, no, I do not want to show you a dead person, but I just want you not to embarrass me when I am in front of my clients. I then saw that he was holding a gun, and I got really scared because I didn't want any problems with the police. But anyway, since I was working for him, I then got up and he instructed me to put on a bullet vest, and he then gave me some shoes. We then went outside and I saw that there was a very beautiful car that was parked outside. There were your SUVs, the expensive ones. We then got into the car and I saw that my friend, he was the one who would be driving that car. He didn't even have a license at all, but when I was still back in my country, name Eden, he used to drive around even though he didn't even have a license. There were charms that we were using so that the police can never stop us. We used to have a lot of guns at all the times in our car, but the police would never stop us because of those charms. We then got into the car, and my friend, it seemed as if he already knew where we were headed to. He started driving and driving until we had reached this other rich neighborhood. When we arrived in that rich neighborhood, we waited for a very long time before the security could have opened up for us. We started driving at 4 a.m. somewhere there. Then we got to that rich neighborhood. It was somewhere around 18 minutes to 7. I still remember because there was this other big lighted. I still remember the time because in the car there was a TV. I still remember as my friend was speaking with the security guard, I was busy watching the TV whilst I was sitting nervously in the car. We waited for my boss clients to give us the go ahead to be allowed into that community. After we had been given that after we had been allowed to get inside that community, we then drove up to this other mansion, and our boss then instructed us that we were supposed to get outside and follow him. We then went into the garage and we waited for the boss. And then my boss came and he said that we were supposed to get into the house. We followed him upstairs and we entered into this other room, and I saw that this room that we were inside, it was sort of like an altar. There was a bed that was in the middle, and on that bed, my brother, there was a woman who was lying there. She was just unconscious, and she was quite a young woman. Then the man whispered to us that this was going to be his new wife. So there were some rituals that were needed to be done so that when she will be staying with that blesser, she won't be able to see all of the rituals that will be done on her body regularly. So that man had dosed off this girl. He wanted our services. We were supposed to put her body in the boot of our car, and we were supposed to travel across the state, going into another state, and we were supposed to go with this woman's body, even though she was still alive, to this other priest. So this was quite risky for him, just in case if he was going to be arrested by the police. He said that with these other men, they will be following us behind. But if anything was going to happen, it was me, my boss, and my friend that was going to be arrested. My boss then said that it was okay. We then lifted that woman's unconscious. We then lifted up that man's wife and we went with her and we loaded her in the boot of this other car. The car had already been designed whereby at the back seat they had removed the seat so that air would be able to flow in whilst your body was inside that boot. Then we just put a cloth so as to cover and people would not see anything. And we started driving. We drove for about 10 straight hours whilst we were driving, going into another state. When we arrived there, that was when that man overtook us, and he gave a signal to our boss that we were supposed to follow him behind. It was more like a convoy now, and we then entered into this other village. And once we were in that village, there was this other priest that was waiting for my boss's client. When we got there, we were just given an instruction to remove that woman from the boot of the car, but we were told to hold on a little bit because there was an item that was still missing. So we waited, and it was very hot. My boss was really scared because this woman, she had been unconscious for a very long time, and inside the car it was really hot. Then that priest took some water and he started sprinkling the water around the car and saying that she is not going to die, because only people that he wants to die are the ones that will die in his compound. We waited for a very long time, and whilst we waited, my boss's client, he had actually sent 2 of his bodyguards to go and buy that item that was very important for that ritual. When they came back, when I looked, I saw that they had gone to buy a coffin, and this coffin, it was like transparent, whereby you could see everything that was inside. We then were given an instruction to remove that woman's body from the boot of our car, and we placed it into that coffin. I was really scared of everything that was happening because we were told to tie the coffin so that no air was supposed to get inside, and yet there was that unconscious woman that was lying inside that coffin. We did it anyway, my brother, and we went with that coffin into that healer's room. And once we had placed it in that room, we were told to go and wait sitting in our car. Our boss was given some money, and we drove just around the village whilst we were waiting for his client to finish up with the ritual. When the ritual was done, then our boss received a call from the client. We went back and we were told that we had to pick up that woman. Our boss's client didn't even want to touch his own wife. He made us to do everything. Any items that were supposed to be removed from the coffin, it was my boss, my friend, and I. We were the ones that were supposed to remove everything. After we were done, we then saw that this woman, she was made to wear a red garment that was really soft. You know, there are those certain night gowns that is a type of a cloth that she was wearing. We were told that we had to return her back into the boot of our car. Then we started traveling again, but this time around we traveled throughout the night because my boss's client, he had received a tip off that there was a heavy roadblock just close to that village because of the rebels that were troubling the villagers. These rebels were staying in the mountains. So we then traveled throughout the night, and because of the charms, we never got stopped at the checkpoints. When we returned back to the city, our boss was given money, and each and every month our boss would be giving us the money. So I worked for a very long time with that man who was our boss, and he used to get a lot of these clients, whereby most of these men, they were ritualists. So these men that were our clients, there are a lot of stuff that they do not want to touch, yet those things, they are required for their rituals. Some of them, they are scared of the things that they went to get, because some of their rituals, they require that they are supposed to go and sleep at the graveyards. So usually we would be standing guard over them. Some of them, they are required to go and take soil at the cemeteries. And there was another client that my boss had gotten. All that we had to do was to sleep with different women, and each and every month we had to go and submit our semen. He had bought a cooler box for our boss. We used to place the semen inside that cooler box, and we had to store it inside a deep fridge. We simply had to use that cooler box because he had already taken that cooler box to a herbalist. We were not supposed to use any other kind of a cooler box. So each and every time when you will be with your girlfriend, and you would never tell your girlfriend that you will be doing this, after finishing, then you will tie your protection that you would have used whilst it has semen inside. Then after she would have gone, then you would place that protector into that cooler box. And at the end of the month, our boss, he was the one who would go and meet up with his clients, and he would return back with the money. So it happened that my friend grew tired of everything that we were doing. He then said that it is far much better that we try to go to Europe, since we were making a lot of money. So the money that was requested for people to smuggle us into Italy, we could actually afford it. Me and my friend and another guy, we then decided to go to Italy. And yes, my brother, we managed to reach the shores, and when we were about to get smuggled, that was when we were separated, and unfortunately the other boat, it then capsized, and I managed to come here to Europe, and I can say that it was by the grace of God. So me being here in Europe, it was okay, but it then came with a lot of challenges, because some of the people who are from my country and other different countries that I met, especially in Italy, I saw them progressing in life. Some of them, I saw them even getting their papers. But as for me, at the last minute, there was something bad that would always happen. I still remember there was this other pastor who used to assist us. He then said that if he was feeling like in my body, like he could see that there was something that was causing all of this bad luck that was happening to me, that pastor tried praying for me, my brother. But even up until today, I am still witnessing that type of bad luck, whereby at the last minute, when I am supposed to receive my papers so that I can start working, then something bad will always happen. And I think that maybe it is because of all the things that those people used to make us to do, like going into the graveyards, going to some mortuary so that we can be given some water. I even remembered that we once went to this other mortuary. When we went there, there was no water that could be given to us. So those guys were really busy. What they did is that they invited us into that cleaning area where they clean the bodies of the deceased, and they told us that we had to take, those garden hose pipe, and we started washing the corpse, whilst we had placed a bucket underneath a table. As we were gathering all of that water, we then went out of that mortuary and we went to that client who was a client of our boss who needed that water. And that man, my brother, he actually have a lot of butcheries in our country and a few supermarkets. So I don't even know what he was using the water for. So I think that all the things that we did whilst I was in my country, it is the thing as to why I am not able to receive the papers. Even now, my papers, they are still in processing, and I can't even move on to another country because of the stricter restrictions.